Good afternoon. It is Sunday, December 20th, year 2020. This is the Forge Podcast. Welcome aboard. This is our second episode. Uh, we did pretty good the first episode. We got, as of now, we got 78 views, 5 likes, and 8 subscribers. We're not pushing it out. I think that's pretty good numbers. So if you haven't already, go subscribe. Go check out our first podcast. It was just an introductory of who we are, what we're trying to do with the podcast, and yeah.
Picture is forthcoming. We are putting a picture on there. I know right now it's just a big F.
Yeah.
It's a little off. I know big blue F. But
we'll change that up. We'll get a picture on there. We're going to work on the audio. We're going to get microphones. If not by the next episode, a couple episodes from now. We are ensuring and trying to bring you the best quality podcast that we can with what little we have and with what little knowledge we have. But we will get there in no time. And we're going to kick this week's episode off with how we ended last week's episode. We're going to virtually end every podcast with a quote, a saying. We're going to break it down. We're going to elaborate. We're going to, we're going to shine different point of views on that. So, visiting last week's quote, it was one from myself. It wasn't really a quote. It was just kind of a state of mind that I was in while I was working. And it went as, how many people out there are killing themselves to earn a living? Hashtag irony. Hashtag reallocate your time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn to Brandon, the wild man, and I'm going to ask him to break that down and what he thought I meant and the metaphors that he could take away from that. So, all you, brother.
All right, how's everybody doing today? What I took away from that is you get started. All right, money. I need money. And you just work yourself to the bone for the money. And come payday, you get paid and your check is gone before you even spend it. So what do? 80 hours a week. You put in all that time, maybe 100 hours a week. Some of us work 2 or 3 jobs, and you're dead. Your bills might be paid, but you're dead, and you can't do anything else. That's paying your bills. You're not
killing yourself.
You're killing yourself, and you can't do anything. That brings it up to me. Along with that is, we weren't brought here just to work and outline somebody else's pockets with money. I should be able to spend my time with my family. I should see my friends, my brother-in-law. I should be able to, take care. Hey, let's go grab a drink. But we can't. Why? Because we have to kill ourselves to pay bills.
So, yes, on the surface, that is what it meant. I'm sure the people that, read that came across, that's exactly what they were thinking. I was thinking more along the lines, yes, of course I'm killing myself. I was working at the time when I thought this. I was like, man, I wish I was home with my family, spending time with them. Instead, I have to chase this dollar, this almighty dollar, so that I can provide them with the happiness in the household and the things they want to enjoy. But I also meant killing yourself. You're putting all this effort and time towards something for somebody else, or you're working for another company, or you're working for you're just working for somebody else to make money for somebody else. Ultimately, you're making money for somebody else. I meant you're killing yourself because you're putting all of your dreams aside to spend this time to work for somebody else, to make this money for somebody else. You're killing yourself. Day by day, you're going by. You're killing yourself. And you're slowly putting, like when you got one of those tiki torches and you put that cap over the fire and it douses that fire out, puts that fire out. You're killing yourself. You're ultimately creating a shell of your former self because you're chasing the dollar. You're chasing somebody else's dream. You're chasing somebody else's dream.
Yeah.
So ultimately what I was basically saying, not only are you killing yourself physically, you're killing yourself as a whole. You're taking away from who you are, to change someone else's life. Basically, all you're really doing is making money to support your family.
Somebody else's family, not even yours, really.
But in all end, with all due respect, you can take this time and put it forth to your dreams and make your dreams come true and still have time for grinding. I know you don't like the word, for the grind and for your family and stuff like that. You just need to reallocate your time. Hence my hashtag.
Going on with what Ray just said, in my previous jobs that I've had, one thing I like to do, just I might be a bit of an asshole sometimes, but I'll say to people, how you doing? And they'll respond back is living the dream. To which I respond, but is it your dream?
Mm-hmm.
And you get that deer in the headlights look, and it's like people have never been asked that.
No.
It's like, well, is this what you want to do? Is this your dream? Do you want to be working, which was a major push for me to get in contact with this guy and be like, listen, we both are family guys. I'm not going to work 40 hours a week for somebody else, have nothing
Absolutely.
to show that, and then
Absolutely.
miss my family growing up.
Absolutely.
So it's a big proponent.
This podcast was months in the making. This is stuff we talked about since summer, I believe. It is now December
of last year.
We're
Really,
just getting the wheels turning because we're busy guys. Because we have these things going on in our lives that we can't get to the computer and do this every day like some people do. But we're changing that. We're making the time for this.
Yes.
I know your sister, she might not like it too much.
I hear you.
But I'm reallocating my time, and she'll get the time that she deserves following this. So you got to reallocate your time. Chase your dream. Chase down what makes you feel good inside. Chase down the stuff that makes you go. The stuff it's going to push you to that next glass ceiling, which is where we want to go with this. We're not bringing forth this podcast so you can continue your job at McDonald's. What is it? Music? Are you into martial arts? Are you into crafts? Are you into, selling things on eBay? I mean,
movies. You want to be an actor, a producer, whatnot, actress. Yeah. Let's not forget our female, population.
You got to open that door by reallocating your time, saving that time during the week for yourself. Even if it's just to start as simple as writing down a couple goals and jotting down some ideas. You have to get out of that everyday
rut.
Yeah, that ant farm. That do your job, you go home, you take care, you wake up, do your job, go home. That's not what we're put here on earth. We're here to satisfy ourselves and individualize ourselves.
Become better. That whole saying, when one door closes, another opens. Don't wait for that door to close.
No.
Open that door yourself.
Open the door before the other one closes. You never know what's behind it. But I think this is a good transition because we wanted to talk about a couple things today. Greed being one of them. So, after all these years of you doing the same job, you want more money. You want more money. You get greedy. And as time goes on, you get more greedy. You want more money, but you're starting to dial yourself back personally, like we were talking about earlier about the quote. You're killing yourself off. You're replacing it with this greed. You need to go to work, so you don't have the time to spend with your kids or your loved ones or
family,
your friends. But we have to do it. We have to do it to survive. But there are other ways around it.
There are ways to chase that dollar, to make that dollar yours without sacrificing who you are.
Absolutely.
Or your family's time, so that your family doesn't forget what you look like.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm a hypocrite myself talking about this situation because I go to work every single day. I do the grind. I know you hate the word. I do the grind. As we looked up the definition, though, the grind was what? It whittles you down
to nothing. Yeah.
Kind of put it in the sense of a brake pad. You grind when it starts to grind. It's time to change that. That's what we're looking to do here. And what do you have to say about this greed? Because I know this was one of your topics.
Why we with what Ray said about with the greed, it takes the place of our family, of our friends, and because of whatever's happening in the world or in the government, wherever you're from, you forget, always working for that dollar needed. You get that greed. I need the money. I need the money. I need the money. Even though it's not what's important up here, because of the way things are, we get that mindset and we forget
Absolutely.
why we started chasing that dollar. It wasn't just to pay bills. A lot of us were like, I need money. I want to give nicer things to my son, my daughter, my girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever,
Absolutely.
wherever your allegiances lie. But you forget, why am I doing this?
Not only do you forget, greed also starts to change you. It changes your attitude. It changes your mental outlook. Some people will take heed to this and notice that your greed is their greed is taking over. The person behind the greed.
Yeah.
They start to act cold to you. They start to show you the cold shoulder, all because they're trying to aim for this ultimate goal in their head that they're going to have millions and millions of dollars, which is a great goal. Don't get me wrong. Everybody wants money.
They're lying.
Everybody has the sense of greed inside them. It's how much you're going to suppress that greediness. For instance, I work for my father, and throughout the years, I always thought it was greed that drove, certain aspects of my father's intentions with his business. As I've gotten older, to be honest with you, he enjoys painting. He really enjoys painting. And I can see that every time he talks about it to people. And here I was just thinking it was greed and thinking he was just pushing for the almighty dollar, getting as much as he can squeeze out of me. But that was not the case. He actually loves what he does. And
Yeah, but he's that old school Italian where they were raised to enjoy what they did. Well,
absolutely.
trade work. Sorry, trade work. If you come across the old people do, and painting is a trade, just like roofing or masonry or whatnot.
We're low on the list, but yes,
But it is
we
hard.
make their work look good.
There's
That's what we do.
there you go. But we've lost a lot because with the old school thought where you took pride in what you did.
Yeah.
And you made the money. You put in an honest day's work, but it's changed to where you can't really put in. You need more than one honest day's work. You need 2 or 3 incomes now to feel any kind of happiness, being that, all right, my bills are paid. I'm not going to lose my house, or water's not going to get turned off.
Absolutely.
But I can take time to wrestle with my boy, or do a tea party with your daughter. Take your significant other out for a drink or whatnot. Go dancing even. That's almost.
Unfortunately, at times it's a little difficult, but
Well,
with the time what we're given right now with the quarantining and all that stuff, I've actually learned more. I was a homebody anyway, so I'm not really. I didn't change up too much anyway outside of my DJing career and things like that. But it shined a light on what's more important. It definitely shined a light on what's more important. I can't get out there and work as much as I like. But to be honest with you, as much as I love DJing and being out there and seeing the crowds dance and seeing this other part of euphoria of life,
Yeah.
I'm enjoying this time at home with my kids. I'm
You're
enjoying
content.
this. Yeah, I'm content. But
Seeing their smiles.
yeah, seeing their smiles and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But yeah, I mean, greed is definitely. If you feel as if you are greedy, if you're just ultimately chasing the dollar bill, and there's no aspiration behind it besides I want more money, then most likely you do have a little bit of greed in your system, and that's one of the things that you're going to want to change. Ultimately, for us to change and to get better and move forth, you want to put that greed behind you, just like ego. You want to start to suppress it a little bit. Um, you know, greed adds intense and selfish desires, and there's a way away from that. Once you start to understand that there's other aspects of your life that doesn't involve the dollar.
When you feel that need, when it's constantly growing and growing, you just can't. There are times when you just made a deal for like a bank. If you just sold a bunch of cars, you got an insurance company and whatnot, and you just wanted more. When you don't stop to breathe after you just made a huge sale, or you just went to that next financial income level, whatnot,
Yep.
you got an issue. It's time to stop, take a breather, write on it.
I think about 90% of Americans can
Well, we can't. Yeah,
relate to that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would agree.
I feel like that credit system is set up to make you want more.
Yeah.
Every time you get on a credit card, you know, oh, I'm going to the next color. I'm going to the next color. That means I could get a vehicle soon, or that means I can, you know, oh crap, I can get a house next. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, those aren't issues, you know, but it's a system that's put in place for us to feel some kind of worthiness. I believe, because if you got crappy credit, you drag yourself through the mud. Oh, I got crappy credit. I can't do nothing. I can't go out and get this. I can't do that because of my credit so bad. So
I need money. I need money. I need cash. What do I do to get cash? And that's when it can start to turn from putting in an honest day's work.
Absolutely.
And then you start looking towards the other avenues of making finances that aren't so legal, which, well, then just ends you up in a bunch of trouble. Yep. And then you don't see your friends and family.
Absolutely.
So
Agreed.
You got to take that time to pull yourself to just stop for even for a night, maybe for a week if you can, and just
peel back and don't spend.
Write five things down.
Try that one time. Outside of your bills, peel back and don't spend. All that greed, put that into your savings account. Put your greed into your savings account. Now when you're sitting on that hill of money, and then you can do whatever you want with it. Put that greed aside. Stop treating people like trash because of your greed and your, you know, that's basically all I'm saying.
No, because that can turn just like that.
Yep. Yeah.
So, but as a leeway and a segue into our next thing of being greed or you know, you're running across, oh, you know, I need to change things. Okay, is why, and mostly, yes, this episode might be slightly, the rest of this might be slightly geared towards guys. Why we feel that we're weak when we ask for help. You know, where it got into our psyche when men really cared what other guys thought of. Oh, if I ask for help, they're going to think I'm weak. You know, why do you think that is, Ray? Why?
Well, men have a sense of masculinity, and since the dawn of time, I believe that it was always kind of the survival of the fittest kind of idea. I'm sure you've read about that and know about that very well. I mean, they teach you that in earth science or whatever they teach you that, and through the years, it's just men have done that, and masculinity takes over. They don't want to show a chink in their armor. They don't want to show weakness. Men do not want to show weakness.
All right, just as a quick side, I don't want to interrupt Ray because we're not about that. But listen to what Ray's saying. Men don't want to show weakness. Okay, but if we go back, I want to say, well, let's say before the 1900s or the 20th century, whatever it was with the 1900s and back, the kings and your lords always had someone that they talked to ask, what do you think? They always had advisors. Nobody ever thought, and the king sure as hell never thought, oh, I'm less of a king because I asked for help. No, not at all. They all had advisors, sometimes like 4 or 5. So around the 19th century, somehow it got twisted to where I'm a man. I can't ask for help. I can't ask for directions.
Slowly through time and systematically, it has become not acceptable for a man to ask for help. These are things that I think we all went through this. When you're on the cusp of turning from a teenager to a man. We know everything. We don't need your help. You start to tell us maybe some financial advice, or you start to tell us maybe we should go, pursue a job in this avenue. Or we don't want to know that. We already know the answer to that.
We know.
I know. Men. I know. We got that masculine. We're men. And that kind of slowly turns into that, I'm not weak. You don't need to tell me how to do things. I've lived life. I'm a man. I can.
You think we bring it upon ourselves, really, or?
I think it's a socially it's in our culture.
Okay.
It's any nationality.
No, that's true. But like what you say, because I I remember when
And
I
they're,
was 16 to 18, Grandpa saying something to me and going, I know.
yeah,
Or
I
my
know.
mom, I know. Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
my stepson, same
You
way.
know, I know.
18 years old,
Yeah,
19 years old. He
you know
knows
everything.
everything. It'll be the first time he's attempting something. Yeah, I know, I
I
know.
know, I know. I know you
But
don't know.
it's until you become older and start to take responsibility for all that you know,
Hmm.
that you start to kind of dial back a little bit and understand that maybe it isn't a bad thing to ask for help. So as my relationship with your sister got more and more involved, I started to realize, it's not a bad thing to ask for help. This is one of the reasons why I actually um, chose to stay with your sister. Is she chose to help me without me asking.
Okay.
I was in a little bit of a pickle, and she got me out of it. Like, less than a few months being with her. I was like, hey man, that's the kind of person I need in my life.
Yeah.
She stood me right upright. I swore it was something I would never go and get myself out of. I was like, I was being,
You thought you were done.
well, I was just being stubborn.
Well, yeah.
I owe the government money for some things that happened to my license, insurance lapse and whatnot. I said, screw the government. I'm not doing that. I'm early 20s.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. They could, scram, like, screw off. I'm not paying them. And she goes, how do you ever expect to do anything or go anywhere? Are you going to take the bus? Are you going to make me drive you everywhere? No, we're going to take care of that. And that was one of the first steps to me finally getting back on track and being responsible, setting up my responsibility to now to taking care of what I now have, my family.
Hmm.
And throughout the podcast, you're going to see that Andrea has been my crutch. She's always lifted me up and over. So to sit there and say that you can get somewhere all on your own all the time, yeah, it's true. But you need that influence. You need that person that loves you. You need that person that means that they are going to go 100% in because they have the faith in you that you can change.
Yes.
And you know,
They're
so
hard to
don't
find.
be afraid to ask for help. Ultimately, that's what this whole conversation began about. Why are men afraid to ask for help?
Yeah.
We don't want to show weakness. It didn't show me weakness. If anything, at first I thought I was being weak by her helping me pay for these things that
Hmm.
I ignorantly didn't want to pay because I thought the government, big brothers diving into my pockets.
Yeah.
I got myself in that situation, and she helped me get out, and it showed me that I can accept a little help here and there, and it got me to where I needed to be today.
Hmm.
You know,
See, that was for me. That was one thing I never thought it was wrong to ask for help. I just was too stubborn to ask for help. I would go, all right, I can't do it this way. Let's try another way. Let's try another way. Let's try. I was always, even if I just failed. It took me a while before I was like, hey, how do I do this?
and that resides in me still.
You know,
No matter how much I just told you I changed, and I'm not afraid to ask for help and whatnot. So, some things at work, I start to pull things apart, or
hmm
something I never dealt with before, maybe a valence or something that I'm
hmm
pulling apart, and I've never dealt with it before. I don't know how to deconstruct this thing, or I don't want to ask for help though because I want to do it all by myself. I want to look
hmm
like the guy who did it. And it's slowly changing throughout the years. If my dad's seen it all, been through it all, he's done it all, so I'm starting to realize that now. And if I asked him for help, it's not going to do anything.
hmm
Maybe he doesn't know. Maybe we could figure it out together.
there you go.
So
Along the same lines with that, that's also showing the difference between a leader and a boss. Your boss will just sit there and do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. A leader will get there right. If his men have a question, what do we do? How do we do this? He'll jump right down and he'll get dirty with his people. We do it like this. We want to do this so that we can get here.
absolutely, absolutely.
And it's hard to find people like that because we let that, I don't want to ask for help. I'm going to do it my way until I get it.
So as I'm doing a little searching here on the net, it comes up the man code is the explanation for why.
Oh, well, this is new to me. What is the man
Being
code?
a man comes with a code of conduct. The code says that you must live up to your identity of what the society expects of you. This code was written before you were born and determines how men should behave. It says that you will do, what you won't do, and what the consequences are if you fail to play along. So it is essentially kind of it's elaborating kind of what I said earlier. The man code is that thing that's culturally inside of us that has been
Because of society.
portrayed of society.
Okay.
And I believe that's a reason for a lot of way people act. And
Because we went from the king says or the queen says, this is how things are.
this is how it
So
is.
now it's just a bunch of people, you know.
And if you don't do it this way, or you
We're gonna
portray yourself weak,
Yep.
then
You're wrong. We're right.
society's going to frown on you. And that has to do with everything these days. Society, because everybody's on social media. So, like, if it's socially unacceptable, you won't post it. If it's socially unjust to your character, you won't post it.
Yeah.
And some people don't have that mentality to stop themselves from posting that, and they get the backlash. And then they start to, consider suicide or drastic measures like that. And then you see a lot of that with teenagers because they don't have the fully developed brain to withstand such bitterness from others.
Well, I don't think they're not taught that anymore. They don't teach it. It's all like this and this and this. There should be, there used to be a class. I don't know what it was called. Something along the same lines of like home economics, somewhere they taught you basic cooking skills and survival, stuff like that. There aren't any classes to where, listen, people are gonna either hate your shoes, they might not like what you look like, or they may think they're smarter than you, and they're not given the tools with how to deal with that.
Exactly.
All of us can't be born with not caring about what other people think. So,
but as far as the social pedestal goes too, men are comfortable with the feeling for asking for help, and if it makes them look any lesser than a woman, I know this is, outdated. Number one, because this is not how people think these days. And I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that the playing field has been leveled, it shows that you don't have to be a man to do certain things. I mean, you're starting to see women in sports refereeing. Even I think a couple weeks ago, I seen a first girl college punter. I like to see this stuff.
Like on a guy team, or like there was a female team.
She was the punter on a
really.
Football
That's
team.
cool.
And it was
Nice.
it was pretty cool to see. It was refreshing.
Yeah.
And it's just the balance. We're gonna bring that word back into this podcast. Balance. Balance should be there with men and women. It shouldn't be one's better than. And it goes for all humanity. No one's better than the next. We're born with the same capabilities, and we go out with the same capabilities.
Sex doesn't matter. Somebody might be, if they're a slave, but it's just only because they trained a little harder. So what should that do? That should cause, you know what? I'm going to train some too. Absolutely. And you should use that as fuel to make your, have your buddy either be better than you at something so that he forces you or she forces you to level up.
Absolutely. Where your sister, she was the one that pushed me to become the DJ that, or going back to that quote, are you killing yourself, trying to earn a living? So I started saying, this has got to stop somewhere. I'm not happy. I'm working my butt off. I'm bringing home just enough to pay the bills. I need to find something I enjoy doing while making money.
Yes.
Between many conversations with your sister and throughout the year, she knew I wanted to DJ. She knew it was something I inspired to do, and she said, just go for it. When you get the money, buy the stuff, go for it. Yep. And I did that. I bought the stuff.
Investing in himself.
Then, the next step was to ask people, how is it done? How is it done? This goes to the conversation of being afraid of asking for help.
Yes.
I wasn't afraid to ask for help. Like, I don't care if that person was intermediate. I don't care if they were novice. They had something to give me that I could use and turn around and use as knowledge. Whether it was one thing they said or 20 different things. And slowly, the more people I talked to, the more I asked for help, the better I got. The more I asked for help, put me up top.
And if you listen to what Ray said, he went out and spoke to people. I think that's a lot of issues that we have right now. People go online and they read something on social media or something on a website. That's just somebody else's perception. If you have a question, You have to physically go and talk to somebody.
Not only that, that helps tremendously. Like it gets you where you want to be a lot
Mhm.
faster when you ask for help. Because if you know everything, you know everything, you know everything, you know everything.
Mhm.
You only know what you've been exposed to. Other people have been exposed to different things that you may have not, and that helps you along the way.
Mhm.
And the more and more you are inquisitive of of the thing that you love, the more and more in depth you get based around that, whatever it is, whatever category it is,
Yeah.
you will learn that that is the way to the top.
Mhm.
It is not just learning something on your own, turning it around and trying to be better than the person that you refuse to learn from. No. Typically, the best at something, somebody that's the best at something in their life, they got help somewhere down the line.
Oh yeah.
They didn't reinvent the wheel. You know what I mean? They took whoever they looked up to, whatever artist they looked up to, whatever actor they looked up to, whatever mechanic, whatever it is, they took the best of that person and implemented it into their own, their own
Made
way
it theirs.
and made it theirs.
Yeah.
And that's how they got better. Not from saying they knew everything.
And not being afraid. You can only look up so much online or in a book. You've got to go out. You've got to ask somebody because you can gain little pieces, like Ray said. I can take this. I can take this, and then use it, but make it your own. Not trying to be better than them, as he said. You want to be your best version of that,
One
whatever.
thing I learned along the way was to totally immerse yourself into whatever it is that you're into. Okay.
Mhm.
So DJing, for me, it was DJing, right? Put posters up. Your desktop wallpaper. If you look at my desktop wallpaper, it's a DJ.
Mm.
Totally immerse yourself into this. So everywhere you go, everything you see is what you are trying to become. The more and more that is in front of you, the more and more you will learn to accept it. The more and more you'll feel comfortable with it. Totally immerse yourself. Ask as many questions to as many individuals as you can.
Mhm.
That is one of the most important things in succeeding. Um, and you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail along the way. But again, without failure, there's no success.
Yeah, and that'll temper you to become your best version of what you can. There's a little thing with what Ray's saying. I think Bruce actually said in one of his movies, somebody was asking to train him, and Bruce pulls out a cup of water, and he tries to pour in more water into that, and he goes, "This is what you know. This is what my knowledge. I can't do anything. Forget everything you know about the subject. There is no I know. You just let the person
Absolutely.
just of all their knowledge, everything, every you know accident, every incident, and every situation the other person has done and gone through. Just soak it all up. Forget everything you think you know, because ultimately you know nothing,
Oh, yeah.
because you haven't done anything.
What was
So
that? The philosopher, the one, I think it was Socrates. He was the one that kind of, that might have been something Bruce got from Socrates because Bruce was into philosophy like crazy.
yeah,
He
he was.
actually studied and graduated philosophy, believe it or not, in college.
Was that one of them? No.
Bruce Lee, yeah. So I believe it was Socrates. He was the dirty old bummy guy in the middle of the village, and he was going around asking everybody, "What do you know? What do you know? How do you know so much?" Or they were asking him, "How do you know so much?"
Mhm.
He was like, "I don't know nothing," and he was the smartest guy of the time.
Yeah,
You know,
and he's still one of
he
the
was
smartest guys in
and
like
he would
ever.
be the first to say he knows nothing.
Oh.
So that goes
It's
without saying.
funny how guys that aren't filled with that ego will tell you, "Oh, I don't know anything." If they're like, like a professor, "Oh, I don't know anything." Or if they're a martial arts instructor, "Oh, I'm good. I know a few things. You know, I'm not the best. I'm not the worst, but I know a little bit."
Okay, so although attributed to Socrates, the now famous "I know that I know nothing" really refers to an interpretation of Plato's account of Socrates' life through his never directly stated.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. Now, along with that, why we feel weak for asking for help, let's kind of slide right into our topic, same topic, but how we react to obstacles. So if you're trying something, this is before you ask for help about There's a couple methods. There's the scalpel method, and there's a hammer method.
Now explain that to me because I'm completely in the dark about this.
Okay. Well, actually, I saw this on a movie I just watched, and it
Okay.
got me thinking, so I did some research. And your hammer method, obviously, it's a hammer. What do we do then? We just pound,
Are you
pound,
talking about
pound, pound.
forging?
They forging, with this, it's more how to solve whatever, your interpretation, how to solve the problem that you just ran across, your obstacle. You can't just pound everything. You can't just use brute force. Now, with a scalpel, it takes a gentler touch. You've got to be smart. You've got to think.
Surgical.
Yes,
Gotta be
there you go. Yeah, and you slowly cut. All right, do this. Then I do this in steps. So when there's steps. So how you react determines ultimately which way which path, how you're going to become. Are you going to become this better one, or is this going to be a failure?
Not only does it do that, it makes way for growth. So, depending on how you reacted to a situation earlier in your life, compared to how you may react to that obstacle today, might be the reason for the change that people are seeing. It might not even be a change for better, it might be a change for worse. The way you reacted to that obstacle that you used to react to in a different form, a different way, that changes your outcome. No matter which way you look at it, the way you react to an obstacle changes your outcome. It's like reading one of those books, turn to page blah 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 for this, or turn to page blah 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 for this. So are you going to get pissed and turn to page 53, or are you going to take this as a learning lesson and go back to page 23?
To start over, ultimately, and how your reaction will determine, and ultimately, when you get to the end, will determine how you see yourself as in your life, what kind of man or woman I was, and how others, well, he did this and this and this, but he built himself up from here. He wasn't afraid to ask for help, and once he got to the top.
How many people reacted with anger or frustration, and anybody who was around that person when they reacted like that doesn't no longer want to be around them. If it was somebody that they were working and that person that you were asking for help, and they told you they told you something that you didn't want to hear and you reacted irrational, guess what? That person's not going to be there anymore for them to help you. So
you have an ego problem.
Some people see obstacles as a puzzle to solve. Some see obstacles as an opportunity to grow. I absolutely see it both ways. I see an obstacle. Okay, how am I going to get through this? You know what I mean? How am I going to get to the other side of this? It's a puzzle. You're essentially trying to solve that puzzle.
Yeah.
And the outcome of it is if you do get through it, you grow. If you didn't get through it the first time, you're going to rehash and you're going to start to think, okay, that didn't work. Now I have to approach it a different way. You might get through it the second, third, fourth time, however many times it takes. You're still growing.
Yeah.
You grew from learning how to, you failed to get through the obstacle. You rehashed your mentality on it. You approached it differently, and you got through the second time.
You became stronger.
The growth was there either way. But if you can just suppress yourself, hold yourself back from reacting in a toxic manner, it'll get you a lot further in life.
Yes.
Do not react with toxic. Just don't do it.
And don't be afraid or upset if you have to get back to basics. Start small.
Fundamentals.
If you have to start over.
That goes as far as any avenue that you take. Let's go with football.
Okay.
Your team starts shit in the bed. They're horrible. Like my team the other night, they're horrible on defense. We could have won the game if they could have just had one defensive play. They fired the defensive coordinator. They went back to their fundamentals. They got the next coach in line, next guy up, the next guy up. And they took care of one of the problems, but the other problem was still there. So I'm sure they will be they'll be revisiting their fundamentals. There'll be the little shifts, the little movements, the little exercises they do. They will revisit those fundamentals and they will get it back on track, hopefully.
I'm hoping.
But yeah, fundamentals is a huge part of everything in life.
Yes.
If you have to take like we said in the last episode, if you have to take a few steps back to get 10 steps forward.
Mhm.
You have to do what's necessary.
And I think the fundamentals are lost a lot on different in different avenues or in different aspects of certain jobs where people get fast tracked. You mostly hear that it's in the military. Sometimes in certain CEO, companies you'll hear it, but people are fast tracked. They start real quick and then they're the vice president or CEO or something.
Yeah.
But they've missed all of this, so they think, oh, that ego starts to
Yeah.
grow.
That's
Yeah, I
the ego
was
thing.
that, but now I'm this.
Well, sometimes things happen for a reason, and you're forced, like you said, you fast track.
Mhm.
You get to where you need to go a lot faster. Maybe that company needed somebody so bad that they just put you ahead of everybody else because they knew you had the tangibles to get there.
Yeah.
But did you learn all the fundamentals on the way?
Yeah.
Or is that something that you allowed your ego to just say, hey, listen, I got here faster than you. You need to listen to me. No, you can still learn from the people below you. You can absolutely.
And that was also too, that happens a lot. Not to talk down about the military, being that I was in the army, but a lot of times you get your gunnies and your old war dogs, and they know what they're doing. And then you get some people that come right out of West Point, lieutenant or captain, and oh no, you see this on my collar? You listen to me. No, you're going to get everybody killed because you just got out of school. You've got to go, in my opinion, you had to have been here before you can come up here. Because if you just start and boom, you're up here, that messes with that ego that people get, and they're like, I'm better. No, you're not. You don't know what this is.
So to revisit the topic of conversation, how to deal with obstacles and how to surpass them, how to get through them. Um, I'm on this site. It's called Psychology Today. It gives us a little list of skills for the wise consideration of obstacles. I'm just going to run. I'm not going to go through the definition of each word. We can evaluate that on our own.
Okay.
I'm just going to go through the steps. We're going to kind of do this rapidly so we don't take there's quite a few steps. I'm going to shoot out the first word, the first step,
Okay.
and then you just explain to me what you know, you elaborate what you think they mean.
My interpretation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So the first would be to stop.
In the name of love. No, I would say take that breath where you think it's getting too much. You just feel you're bloodthirsty for that next nickel, that next dime. You got to take a breath. You got to stop. Pull yourself back. You take a breath. Rehash.
That's what we were talking about.
Okay, what is it I really need to do here? What should I be doing? Do I need this? Really? Can I spare the wealth? Because I can't take it with me. Who else will benefit from my either generosity or showing them, not charging them something, showing them how to better themselves? That's a little pet peeve of mine, not to cut into what Ray's talking about. If you've made it up here, you shouldn't charge people to get to where you are. You should help them.
Absolutely.
Because there's 8+ billion people on the planet. I'm not going to tip into your money. I'm not stealing people because there's enough room for all of us to grow. Sorry, but go ahead.
Second, practice radical acceptance.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would automatically say, to me, that's accepting that you're wrong. Some guy, well, what am I doing wrong? Well, you're doing this. No, real, no. Okay, what else am I doing wrong? Accepting that you are doing something wrong if you've come across an obstacle that you can't go around, smash through.
Just accepting the obstacle alone, in a sense.
Okay.
So radically accepting that there's gonna be obstacles.
Maybe
this
it's
is
the
my
radical
this is
part.
my
Maybe
input
it's the radical part that I'm.
No, you're right.
Oh, okay. All right.
Remember, no one's wrong.
No, but it's like that radical. What you're saying is what Ray's saying is exactly true. That is the obstacle.
I mean, not only are you gotta be prepared to accept failure, but you have to be prepared to just accept that on your journey that there's going to be obstacles.
Yes. There's gonna be
You're
bumps.
gonna go through obstacles. I don't care what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's gonna happen.
Okay.
Next up, accept your emotions.
Oh,
So when you encounter the obstacle, the experience of your emotions. Accept it.
Okay, that's I'm not really an emotional dude. Enough to rate. I'm still working on my emotions.
So pursuing a goal, because I've pursued many goals,
Mhm.
I've achieved many goals, I've failed at many goals. Um, you have to accept your emotions, whether it be anger, whether it be resentment, whether it be you're happy, you're overly joyed. I mean, there's been nights when I DJ that like I got goosebumps. I achieved
Mhm.
this euphoria of this is what I wanted to do and it's finally happened.
Mhm.
I'm accepting my emotion that at that minute.
Okay.
But it can also come in the form of crap, I failed.
Yeah.
I am pissed. I am depressed. I am let down. I'm a shell of my former self. These are things that are going to come with failure. If you accept your emotion and put a spin on that, I believe,
Mhm.
use that anger, use
It's fuel.
it as fuel to propel you to the next
Okay.
step.
All right, I got you. All right. So you're taking a moment basically, and accepting. Okay, and you're using it, and you're just okay. Let me think.
You're
Let me
not going
think.
to just get
Think.
pissed
And just
and
lash out.
let it out on the world. You're going to
Okay.
accept your emotion. You're going to turn it around,
Mhm.
and you're going to use it as fuel, like you said.
I like that.
Strap it to your back and to the moon. All right. So next step would be willing to consider different ways to reach your goal. I mean,
Ooh.
that's a really important piece of information. As simple as it sounds, yeah, you're like, oh, you got to have a flexible mind. You got to have an open mind. You know, the way that they do math with the Common Core today.
Mhm.
I'm not really on board with it. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're making them go the extra mile.
Oh, I do. I know why.
But when, okay, we could say that for another podcast.
Yeah, no worry. Yeah.
But you got to be willing to get my son through that homework. I had to be willing to take a different path to get to the goal, to get to the solution, to get to the math problem. Even though I didn't like that way, I accepted it. I considered it, and I ran with it. I learned a few things. Will I use that method? Probably not. But again, you have to be willing to accept it to get. I had to accept it to get my son to his final solution, to his final, answer. So it is one of.
I'm just waiting for you to go. I'm just waiting for you. A man accepting that he's wrong. When Ray said it to me about the acceptance, you're wrong. Let's try it this way. Turn off your ego. Someone else who's done it, who knows more about it than you do, they can show you. Look, what you're doing. No, that's using the hammer. You can't always use it for. Stop. Think. And then here's this way.
Yeah.
Here's this way. It's hard to tell.
A little longer. It might not be the shortcut.
No, the shortcuts I think are bad anyways. That's right up to where you're on the fast track, taking a shortcut.
So right now, in the times that we're living in, how many people were trying to obtain a goal, but Corona got in their way? They can't no longer go to work to get the money that it takes to obtain this goal.
Mm-hmm.
Did that person just say, "Oh crap, I'm out of work. I can't do nothing. I gotta wait for unemployment. I gotta wait for a stimulus check"? No, they were able to find a different way to obtain a goal. Mm-hmm. Whether it meant going back to work in the McDonald's for a little while to get the money, whatever job was available to get the money. Don't stay stagnant just because you're comfortable. You know what I mean?
But some people get stagnant though. They hear that, I can be lazy.
Because life is easier when you're content. Life is easier when you can go home and live stress free because you don't have the stress of worrying about that job
because the government's paying.
Yeah.
That's where with what Ray's talking about. People come home. The ones that hates if they have to get help from the government. We're constant. What can I do next? How can I change this?
Absolutely.
Who can show me another way to do what I got to do to make that money so I can enjoy my family? Or you've got the other ones. Sorry to say, but there's balance. We don't know what this is without that. Oh, the government's just going to pay me to sit down. I'm not much to stay there. I can't do that. I hate.
So interesting fact that I took no assistance from any government this whole time.
How many governments are you a part
of? Our government.
Okay.
I took no assistance. I could have took many avenues. I could have done many things. I'm self-employed. I could have took many routes to get assistance. No, that's not the route I took. The route I took was to I took a seat back because all the money I lost from DJing alone. I was making some pretty damn good buck doing some of this stuff. I lost out on a lot of that money this year. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed because through that course I learned how to navigate my money better.
Okay.
And it better prepared me for a situation like this. Nobody ever thought this situation was going to happen.
No.
But I used a different path to get through the obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't jump for all the assistance. I didn't ask for any money from the government.
Mm-hmm.
I basically says I need to get more work. How am I going to get more work? And I knew what I had to do. I did that, and I took with it, and I ran with it, and I feel stable. I feel, I'm still content. I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
My family's fed. They're happy.
There you
Bills
go.
are paid. All right, next up. Find meaning when we experience a difficult situation. It's certain to say that it's uncomfortable at the least. At the same time, you can often find meaning in the obstacle you face. Ask yourself, what lesson can I learn from this? So this goes hand in hand with my mantra on my Facebook. Win some, lose none. When you lose, you're gonna learn something from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
No, I see. I like that. I wouldn't say it was probably 2 years ago. I want to say that started, maybe 3, but it hasn't kicked in, I think, until this year with the COVID and everything that's it, where people are just like, okay, I didn't fail. I learned what not to do.
Exactly.
What's that? What is it? Ben Franklin with the light bulb. He did it 10,000 ways. He didn't fail 10,000 times. He learned 10,000 ways how not to light a light bulb, and he got that one way.
Well, that's you could go with the Bruce Lee. Here we go with Bruce Lee again. You use the Bruce Lee analogy. You can study a punch 10,000 times, but it takes one time to get that punch right. To get that punch, the exact matched energy that you're looking for, the exact match trajectory.
The sweet spot, yeah.
The sweet spot. He would practice that punch 10,000 times to get it right, just like the same thing you were going.
Yeah, his training schedule. I've read it a couple times. It was insane, the training that he did.
So pretty much, once you find the meaning and accept that problem exists, you find the meaning to it. Mm-hmm. Then you're allowed to take your brain and use, us as humans. That's what we do. We solve problems. I mean, we are a species of problem solvers. So in a sense, once you find the meaning behind reasons why you lost or reasons why you took that step back.
All right, drink up. Right now, a short word from our sponsors. So, no worries, man. No worries.
All right, we're back after a short intermediate cough break. But I'm all right, folks. All right, that's all right. So we're going to move right on to the next step here. Be willing to ask for input. We already kind of covered this. Funny that it comes up because we already covered it. Mm-hmm. If you're a man, woman, doesn't matter.
We're not going to think less of you for asking for help. We can't know everything.
Exactly. Use all your resources, basically,
yes,
to benefit you. The next one is set small goals to lead to overall goals. I'm a huge believer in this because no way do you go from step 0 all the way to step 10, just by taking one large leap and bound. We have to stop trying to take these large leaps and bounds. And if you don't achieve them, then you get all angry with yourself. You get upset with yourself. That's not the way. You got to set sub goals. Sub goals are huge.
It's not going to happen overnight.
So, I wanted to become a DJ. My sub goals were, okay, well, first I have to learn how to work a microphone. I have to learn how to set the volumes. All these little things. I went into perfecting the craft. You have to set those tiny goals underneath your large goal. And I believe if you don't do that, then you're gonna fail.
Like Ray said, if you just have a large goal, you give all this time where you may fail, and then you could end up just getting pissed off. But those small goals, each step, even as I said before, slow progress is still progress. Absolutely. So one step, buy the equipment, Work the microphone.
Put it this way. You as a human, you want to make more friends. You don't have enough friends. You're like, man, you really use some friends. You're not gonna just go, boom, I got friends. You know what I mean? You gotta. Well, where do I want to meet these friends? What kind of friends are they? The smaller goals. Where am I gonna talk to these people? Where am I gonna go to meet these people? Set those smaller goals, you may achieve. You know,
More than you thought.
ultimate friendship.
Yeah, you could. Changing things.
Next step is to understand that mistakes are normal. We said this 100,000 times. Failure. It takes failure to get.
It's gonna happen. Like you said, like acceptance. It's gonna. You're gonna run into boots. There are no smooth roads.
Yeah, blaming and wasting your energy on things discourages you. Mistakes are gonna be there. It's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, when you make that mistake, you're probably never gonna make that mistake again. And if you do keep making that mistake again, then you need to dial back. You need to take a couple of these steps that we were talking about.
Figure out that new path.
Go back
like
to
said,
the
yeah.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Expect that there's going to be a different path to your obstacle.
And 9 out of 10 times, it's not going to be because it was somebody else's fault that you ran into an obstacle. So you have to own up, take responsibility. Okay, I did this wrong. Let's find that other way. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Step 10 is to reevaluate. Sometimes what you think you want it to turn out to be might not be the turnout.
Ooh,
so
that's a good one.
You have to reevaluate the situation. You have to reassess. You have to, sometimes those sub goals that you made need to be reevaluated. Just because you made the goals and you thought, hey, these are the goals I have, these are the necessary goals I have to take to getting to this point, to the ultimate goal, sometimes they need to be reevaluated.
Or those small goals, like, all right, so Ray wanted to be a DJ, and he is a DJ. So here's the DJ. So you hit these small goals, boom, 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 boom. Ray gets here at the same time. Maybe he figures out, instead of being a DJ, maybe I want to be the one that sets up these parties, and I hire the DJ. People come to me. I earn money. Let's get this party going. A party facility. I know there's a word for it, and I know they make killer money.
Yeah.
So
reevaluating again is kind of also goes. I think this step goes hand in hand with kind of understanding there's different paths.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of to put it into perspective, to reevaluate. Say you have a goal, but you're so sick and tired. Your goal is to lose so many pounds. You're so sick and tired of getting up and running the same path every day, running the same block, running by the same houses.
Mm-hmm.
So you reevaluate. I want to achieve this goal, but I'm so sick and tired of running every day. I take a dancing class, or you take a spinning class.
Yeah.
Swimming. You reevaluate it. You change the minor goals a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to help you to your ultimate goal.
Yeah.
And of course, step 11 would be to celebrate, recognize your accomplishments. So when I started finally doing these weddings, and I started finally getting people praising me and saying, "Oh my God, you're a good DJ, you're a good DJ," I'm humbled to the core. You can tell me to my face that I'm the best DJ in the world, and I'll still deny it.
Low ego, very little.
There's been egos here and there, but
but you can walk through the door still.
I've learned how to suppress that.
Okay.
Exactly, because if your ego gets too big, there's this saying, your head gets too big, you can't walk through a door.
Is that really a saying?
And I don't know exactly how it goes, but
I just
some people have big enough ego they can't get past the door.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that was a saying. I just heard it said to people.
Your ego is all in your head.
Yep.
And if your ego outweighs just simply recognizing your accomplishments, it's not ego.
Yeah, no, that's very true, and I like, you have to celebrate. All right, I made it. And when they mean celebrate. I'm pretty sure it doesn't mean, I got to here.
Shots because you just accomplished one of your goals.
And it's not the big goal.
Like for me, celebrating and recognizing my accomplishments was something as easy as going home at nighttime after I just had a killer performance, right? I had 1,000 people dancing, right? I came home, my adrenaline was still pumping. I was still high off of that achievement.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I wish I could do this again. I was looking at all the pictures and videos, and I remember like certain times it gave me goosebumps. That these people were like having such a great time. It wasn't ego. It was just me. Like I was recognizing my accomplishments. I wasn't pumping any kind of. I wasn't feeding my ego. I was just like, man, you finally did it. You finally achieved your goal. You finally got to it. And it had as your euphoric state, like goosebumps out of nowhere. It's just like kind of, it's a sense of accomplishment.
And you don't have to wait till you get to the main goal to celebrate.
No, you don't.
You know, all right, I got the money in my check. I can go buy my equipment. All right, I learned how to get the mic and make the noises and set this all up. Boom. You know, I got this together.
And to be honest with you,
don't lie to me. Lie to me.
If it's an obstacle that you can't overcome and you can't find the alternative, you can still celebrate. Why? Because you tried everything in your power. What if the help didn't help? This was just taking an
Okay, yeah.
This is showing that you can celebrate without actually achieving your ultimate goal, like you said.
Okay.
So you would be celebrating that you put the effort in and that you did your best. Yeah. Even though you didn't get the outcome you wanted.
Yeah.
What you should reflect back on is that you did the best you can. And in case you ever are, you cross paths with this scenario again, that little bit of confidence and a little bit of celebrating you did, knowing that you put your best in last time, might get you through the next time.
And ultimately, also, too, along with what he said before, is where you start out, you may not always end up. If you go to where you reached here, but you ultimately, I guess you do fail, along that way, you're going to find something else. I mean, I think that's just the mystical energies that are around the planet. Yeah. You're not just going to be a failure. No. You're going to find other energies. You're going to make friends. You're going to meet people, network.
What pushes you to the next level is the mystery of what is the next level. You know you want to get there.
Yeah.
The mystery of it has you entangled in wanting to get there even more. At least for me. I don't know if this is true to everybody. But the mystery on that door that you could be opening, you know that phrase, one door closes the next one?
Yeah.
The mystery that's behind that door is why you want to open that door.
See, I equate with what you're saying. For me, I read it. A bunch of your speakers or whatnot say that if your dreams don't scare you, then you're not dreaming big enough. Then you're selling yourself short. Your dreams your wants, your goals should both excite and scare you because you're putting yourself out there.
There's fear. There's immense fear in trying to obtain a goal. You know,
your own goal, being an entrepreneur. What
put it like this: you want to pay a bill. You gotta pay a bill. You gotta pay your electric bill, right? You have to pay it. The fear of not paying that bill, even though you know subconsciously you're doing all the right things to pay that bill, the fear of your lights going out and your kids not having lights is equivalent to the same fear that I've felt. You know, maybe I was going to do a wedding with 450 people. Wow, this is a little bit bigger than the wedding I'm used to. It's hard enough trying to keep everybody happy with the music selection when there's only 100 people. Now I got 4.5, 5 times as many. That fear was inside of me. But knowing that I could handle this kind of situation I have before, it kind of aided me and got me through that. And by the end of the night, I was celebrating. I was celebrating that I achieved that goal. That fear that I got over, that fear turns into instant gratification. When you succeed at something, fear turns into instant gratification. And chances are it made you stronger for next time.
Yeah. See, it's more so for me with that fear is because I'm a kind of rough guy. As I told you last episode, I've recently started woodworking. And sometimes with me, I watch all the YouTube videos, the Insta people, whatnot I follow, and they do things just so nicely. I'm along with basketball too, is why I don't play basketball. I don't really have that finesse.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's hard to control my strength, so I have to take a step
You're
back,
like
and
the
I have
guy
to.
in Olympian college and throwing free throws. He's like, "Let it rain," and then bounce off the backboard. Doesn't even come close.
I've got to pull myself back, and I've got to relax myself, and then you slowly move up, and then you do it in little increments because you can add when it comes to work. Right? You can't, if you do too much, that's it. But if I'm slowly doing it, you go and go and go until you get to that
Ah,
sweet
yes,
spot.
the method of doing too little to the method of doing too much. You
No.
can always add,
hmm
but you can never take away, as they sort of say. You can
No, I
always
thought it was you can take away,
you
but you
can
can't add. Or is that what they?
whatever you're doing, it doesn't matter.
Okay, yeah, I know there's
You're
like with
scooping water
layers.
out of a
Yeah,
bucket, you're doing it with
yeah.
your
Okay,
fingers.
all
You
right,
can
I got
always,
you.
uh, for a paintbrush, you can always add more paint, but you can't take the paint off. Put it that way.
See, that's why we got to work. Sometimes things are said, and with different aspects, it's
Well,
like
that's why I
they're
use
taken
these.
out of context.
That's why I use these metaphors
Yeah.
of everyday tasks that I
Mhm.
do. You know what I mean?
No,
Because
that's
that's how I elaborate.
yeah.
So
It's like you
like,
can always take off a layer when it's cold out,
absolutely.
but you can't add a layer if you don't have it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
So, with that being said, we added our second episode of our podcast. Like I said, we didn't do too bad off the first podcast. We'd like to get more and more people involved. We did have a few comments, but it was nothing substantial. It was like when we were talking about the art and museums and stuff from our
yes,
last episode. Um, the gentleman said a lot of those $1 million modern art pieces are actually money laundering.
he went a little
Now,
above my buddy Josh.
I've seen this in movies. I think it was like Ocean's 12 or
Yeah.
11 or something like that. And I get what you're saying, but I don't know nothing about the black market. I can't help you there, buddy.
Yeah.
But
We might have to talk, Josh. All right, we're gonna have to talk. But before we get to Ray's quote, because I do like that, and I do want to end every episode with the quote. A lot of people get worried. Do I have this? Do I have enough? Do I have this and this and this to be better? You don't need fancy to make a better you. You can forge a new you through simplicity. Okay, you could get with the basics. Um, as you start to see, we haven't even got our green screen yet. We enjoy the background, but we're going to get a green screen so that we can impose or transpose whatever so we can be in other places.
Those baby steps.
Yes,
Those
those
sub
yes,
goals.
yes, we're going to celebrate. We're going to woo when we get the green screen. The mics are coming, so we get that crisp, clear voice. We're going to celebrate.
Yeah.
We'll probably act goofy. But people, I don't have money to do this. I don't have money. So you start small. Work with what you do have,
Absolutely.
and then when you make that next step. Awesome. Let's do this. What's
Absolutely.
next?
Absolutely.
That next step.
Well, it took me quite a long time to get the equipment and stuff I needed.
Mhm.
But I ended up doing it, and I celebrated. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I got to the point where I reached the goals I wanted to reach. With the quarantine and the whole Corona thing, I took a little step back, but I think everybody has, so I'm not letting that get to me.
Okay.
Once this thing is over, I'm going to hit the ground running once again. I'm not going to let it subside me, and I encourage you all to do the same. I encourage you all just to get back out there, put your feelers back out there.
Mhm.
A lot of us probably have become socially awkward over these last few months, per se. But get your butt out there, ask questions.
Don't be afraid. If you're a guy, we're not going to judge you.
God, jot down your small goals
Mhm.
and your ultimate goal. Do what it takes do what it takes to forge a new you.
And real quick, before Ray hits us with the quote, underneath this video, and down below it, wherever I put it on there on YouTube, I will be giving you our email. I do apologize. I forgot to send that out with the last one.
I was thinking that last time.
Yeah, in case you want to ask us a question, or maybe you would like to hear us talk about
Or
something.
you can simply comment underneath the video.
If you're up for it, I might even put a PayPal or one of those Cash App things. We'll gladly take, subs,
help us get our green screen.
That's right. Yes. Yes.
Help us help
Go
you.
fund the green screen. Yeah. Okay. Without further ado, Ray's gonna hit us with that quote.
Here's my quote. Your work is not to drag the world kicking and screaming into a new awareness. Your job is to simply do your work sacredly, secretly, and silently, and those with eyes will see it, and ears will hear it, will respond.
Ooh.
Let that simmer, let that marinade. We'll see you next time.
That's right. Have a good week.
Yep.